Welcome to Coffee with Janis and Karen. Okay, Karen, what are we going to talk about today?
Can we just first look at the cute little thing you have on here? I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but I just noticed it today. She has a cake plate and it's got this like dangly heart thing on it.
I can't see.
Valentine's
Let me put my
Day.
glasses on and see if you can see it in the picture. Yeah, I think you can.
You can take a screenshot and
Zoom in.
But anyway, it's really cute.
And I don't remember where I got it, so yeah. I think it was a Christmas ornament, maybe.
Oh, really?
I think maybe.
Oh.
Anyway,
Well,
I liked
that
it.
would
That
be
was
good.
back when shabby chic was popular.
Oh, so is it not popular now?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not the
So now
thing.
people have to go through their entire home and redo it.
Yeah. You know, hey, if you like it, you just keep
That's
it
it.
the way it is.
And that's the point, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, even like, I was reading this thing about how women my age shouldn't wear sparkly eyeshadow.
I've read that too.
And I'm like, yeah,
Knew
but
what
you
you
don't
want.
understand. I do sparkles.
Yeah.
I'm a sparkly.
Yes, she does.
I mean,
Karen
back in
likes sparkles.
And back in the 80s, I still wish I had some of my belts from the 80s.
Well, they've kind of come back.
Well, I hadn't seen any that big.
Oh, okay.
Some people said they were swing sets.
Oh,
My belts were so big.
yeah, they were pretty big.
They were.
Yeah.
Neon.
That was kind of your thing.
They were. Yeah. But anyway. So, anyway, we're just chatting today. I guess you figured that out. We didn't really have a subject, but we had been just thinking a lot. We had talked about the goodness of God. And one thing that I had come to this epiphany, I guess, if you will. One of my daughters was talking to me one day about church and wanting to see real church, you know, and not a program.
Right.
And so, because you know the difference.
Oh, definitely.
And the other day, I was playing for a funeral, and one of the guys in the funeral, who was a part of the church, a head of the church, whispered in my ear, "I'm sorry, I know this service is weird." I was like, "That's okay, as long as I can keep up." And so, and we've been to a lot of different kind of churches.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and there is no perfect church. There's always going to be. How's the saying go? If you show up, there goes the
right.
You know, there it went.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
great. But again, she was struggling with this whole idea of real worship and not a program.
Yeah.
And so I, started. I was just reading through where I was reading in the Bible after that, and I had come to. I was reading, and it was around the Christmas time, and I was reading about Zechariah in the temple when he was doing the temple worship. And they just kind of went in and did what it was his turn. They went in and did the same thing,
Right.
every single time. For how many years, Janice, have these Jewish people
Right.
been going into
Tradition.
the temple and doing the same thing over and over? And what happens? How often is there a holy cloud of God
Right.
that descends on the temple? And so, but they had been doing that for years and years and years. And Zechariah, it's his turn.
Yeah.
He goes into the temple to do the same thing he's done year after year. And it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And God came.
God showed up.
God showed up. And that really encouraged me because I realized God is in the mundane.
Right.
We think, oh, God's not doing anything. We think, well, since I don't see an answer to this prayer, or I don't see this or this or this, that God just must be not concerned about what I'm doing.
Right.
When the whole time, for all these many years, there's been this plan in place. And one mundane day after another, But it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that God's not doing something. It's just that we can't see it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if we can see through eyes of faith instead of these eyes,
Right.
then we can see that in the mundane, in the normal, everyday, get up and go to the same job for 20
or
years.
stay home and wash those dishes and do the laundry. And so many women feel so unimportant or not noticed or recognized, or that stay-at-home mom with the littles that feels socially out, an outcast because no one knows who she is, or she's not a part.
Yeah.
But God is right there with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been there.
Definitely. Oh, I remember feeling that way. That's why I can say it so easily. I felt like nobody knows who I am or whatever, but I had a job to do.
Yeah.
And of course, we both, as our kids have gotten older, now we see the fruits of our labor, and we can look back and see that God definitely was with us through those days.
Mm-hmm.
But
talk about mundane.
Yeah.
Ooh, it really was.
Yeah.
And I was not one of those joyful homeschool moms that gets up out of bed, can't wait to homeschool. No.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, some of the best days that I remember was when we were all just kind of like, you know what? It's chore day. And the kids would be like, yes.
Not school day. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because that meant, that it was different,
Mm-hmm.
and we couldn't afford to go all the different places and do all the field trips and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And so, we lived out in the country, so they were outside.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the mundane.
Right.
God is working.
Yeah.
In the mundane.
Yeah, it's a good thought and a good word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting because the other day I was in the grocery store and I had run into a lady that we used to go to church with, and so we're at a different church now, and she's still at that same church, and so but we had lost track,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly her mother. My girls had been asking me, I wonder how her mother is, and she was kind of old, so they were like, I wonder if she's still alive. Yeah. And so, because they remembered her so much, because she wasn't one of those older people who never dealt with you. She would come and talk to you and, help you, because she worked in one of the stores too, where we used to have a clothing store in town. Yeah. And so she worked there, and it was always nice, because she was really helpful and just sweet. And so I asked her, I said, so how is your mom? And kind of find out she's still alive. She's living with her. And so this lady is now, she used to be in a prison ministry.
Okay.
And she said, I'm not doing that anymore. And she said, and there's this whole idea that, well, I need to be doing something. Mm-hmm. She's taking care of her mom.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be doing something,
right.
Unless it's for her own, good feelings or whatever.
Right.
Just to kind of keep you sane, to get out of the house for a few minutes or whatever. But she didn't have that.
Yeah.
And she said, and so one day, I think she said, I was sitting on the couch, and she said, and I felt the Lord say to me, I just enjoy you. I enjoy watching you sit there and watch TV. I enjoy sitting there watching you, eating your food and enjoying your food. And she felt like the Lord had spoken that into her. So, and I don't know if I hope she realizes that she is in ministry.
Oh, yeah.
And even, taking care of your mom. Man, we've gotten so far away.
Yeah.
In our society.
We really have.
Of that kind of thing.
Well, Karen, it's funny. It just brought back, we had a conversation with Kim the other night. We were talking about the ministry of raising our children. Yeah. And, that seems to have become a burden for some parents. You'll I mean, not to say that a parent is bad if they want their kid to get back into the school, through after summer or whatever.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed having my kids at home, and I mean that might be strange to some people, but I've seen some moms that they don't even want to go grocery shop with their children, or go on vacation with their own children, and it's hard for me to fathom that. But there is nothing more important to me than your own children when you have after you have them.
Right.
And I mean,
and this is your job.
This is your job. You don't really
priority.
Yes, you don't have to look for something else to fill your time. That is your children are your. And it just seems like society has changed that idea.
Yeah.
If you're not involved in this and you're not involved in that, or you don't have this group of friends or whatever, it's like you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
And I had a few little group, that we could hang with that had children, and so we kind of understood each other, where we were in life. But I mean, that is your priority.
Yes.
And so
this determines whether you're going into a home or not.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just lighthearted. But
yeah.
That is it. I mean,
and so then taking care of your elderly parents.
Yes. Everybody's so concerned. The world is so concerned about leaving the world in a good, for the climate change and all that kind of thing. They're so concerned about leaving the earth to the next generations, leaving it clean and nice. Well, Genesis tells us we're supposed to take care of the world, But anyway, but what about leaving good children?
Yeah.
To grow those next generations.
Yes.
What about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a scripture that says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. So that tells me that our job, while our kids are small, is to teach them well.
You got to start when they're small.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that they'll know how to teach their children well.
Yes.
And that, that legacy will carry on.
And it's going to look different every time.
Yeah.
They're going to make some changes. But
and that's okay.
The point is Jesus.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this has been Coffee with Janis and Karen.
With a bunch of thoughts.
Bunch of thoughts.